Uh-oh. Testing. Testing. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No audio. Gotta double check my... Oh, shoot. I gotta fix my audio. Very good. Okay, we're looking good here. So I just activated ultra low latency mode in OBS so that I don't have as much of a delay anymore, because before, during my earlier stream, there was a major delay between the chat and, everything here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to my Xbox, which is hooked up to one of these inputs. Or is it? Is my Xbox on? It's not even on. I got to turn on my Xbox. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second while I turn on my Xbox. Okay, we turn on the Xbox. We should be getting picture any second now if it's working as it should. And it is working. It just takes a few seconds for it to come to life. There it is. All right, good. So basically, this is a Xbox which I soft modded using the Rocky 5 soft mod tool. And as it is right now, this image doesn't look quite right because I think it's supposed to be in widescreen. Although that might be the way it's supposed to look. I feel like it should be a wider screen image. So when in doubt, we could stretch the image a bit. I think for now, I'm going to leave it like this, and I want to make sure we're getting audio out of this, because right now I'm not getting the audio I expect to get. And so that's probably because my HDMI audio input is probably disabled right now. So if I go to the Elgato audio, yeah, I'm supposed to be able to hear this. Testing 1, 2. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, now let me make sure I can give you guys audio. Okay, now you should be able to hear everything. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I'm a little confused by the aspect ratio here. So I think I'm not going to stretch it until I get into the game. Let me just switch my input on my monitor to ensure I don't have any lag. See, it looks perfect on my screen here, so I think we're gonna wing it. I'm gonna go and fix this right now in OBS. So basically, the way we do it is we can reset, then we can make it larger. And I think what's happening is OBS thinks that it's in the right mode when it's not. So we got to manually stretch it to make it right. So there we go. And this is actually a common issue when you're playing widescreen on a standard definition console, because composite output doesn't know, even though I'm using an HDMI adapter, it doesn't know that it's supposed to be widescreen. You know, your TV is more in control of that than your console. Okay, good. So now, and I do have some confusion with my audio levels. Like, my VU meters get really weird until I restart my computer. But I'm going to leave that alone for now. And, well, let's see here. I got Lord of the Rings. I got some Nintendo on here. I got the Xbox Game Ripper working. So that was a, big move. So that was actually what I want to talk about. There is an application called DVD to Xbox. And where's my face? I don't have my face on the screen, do I? Well, let's get my face back on screen here. Camera. We need to get the camera up. Pardon. Oh, mod. Oh, no. Okay, well, let's see here. So I'm just going to copy and paste this, and I'm going to put it into the HDMI right here so you can see me. Yeah, there we go. All right, so this is an application called DVD to Xbox. And the way it works is you put a disc in, and on the bottom left corner, it says whether the disc is inserted or not. Now, what would happen is every time I put a game disc in for 3 different DVD drives, it couldn't read the game. And so I thought the drives were dirty, and some of them were. They were very dusty, smoky. One of them had major mechanical issues. But at one point, I had a DVD drive that was in pretty good shape, and it was still not working, right? It was still not copying the game. So then I figured out the answer. I had a hunch, and I confirmed it on the Xbox mod, Softmod Reddit page, or the original Xbox Reddit subreddit. And basically what it came down to was, this is an IDE to serial ATA adapter. And so basically this is the old 40-pin IDE cable, or IDE connection. Now this is actually a 24-inch ribbon that came out of the Xbox. And, you normally would have this going right into the hard drive, directly into the hard drive. And that's that. But you can't really buy the old connection anymore. So when you get a new hard drive, you can't plug the ribbon cable into the new hard drive. So to get that to work, we have to use this. Right? See, it's a serial ATA connection. Oh, this one's nice too. This one is nice. Oh, this one gets like a tight connection. Wow. So I had another one of these that I pulled from my mom's old computer. And it was being used for years under varying temperatures. So I guess that loosened up the contacts. Because when I went to pull on it, it slid right off. Like, it came off easily. Like, this one here clamps shut. It stays on. Like, holy shit. Anyway, so pretty straightforward, right? Modern serial ATA connection to 40-pin IDE or parallel ATA connection. This is what lets you plug a modern hard drive into an old Xbox. And it works. But whenever I went to copy a game, the program I just showed you on the Xbox, this application here would give me major issues. So the solution was, believe it or not, was to use a different adapter. So here's a picture of it. One side has the serial ATA connection. The other side has the 40-pin connection, which of course we can't see in the pictures here. Let's see if we got some pictures here. That is just awful. Okay, so take my word for it. It's the same concept, basically, just that this one is red, the other one is green. And the bottom line is that this one here cost a bit more. This one was like $12 or something like that, right? About $12, $15, maybe not. It was like about that much. This was like almost $20, I think. Maybe $22, maybe $17, I forget. But bottom line is, this one by StarTech, potentially a higher quality product, was also more expensive, but it has broader compatibility. And so, bottom line, that was it. This was the thing that was preventing the DVD drive from working. And once I had, swapped it out with the red one, I was good to go. And I was able to copy a number of games that I own, because the idea is that you own the game already, and you're just transferring games that you already own to the hard drive. You're not downloading bootlegs. This is totally legit. Now, you could download bootlegs too, but that's not what I was doing here. And so, yeah, very happy that worked out. And then you can go here, exit to dashboard. The dashboard being literally what it says. The dashboard is like the main menu on the Xbox. And that might take a few seconds to cycle on. Now, how did I get custom software onto this Xbox? Well, basically, we have to hook the hard drive up to the computer, and we're going to do it with an SSD. Believe it or not, we're going to do this on a solid state drive. Now, this solid state drive can be powered by this little tiny one. It doesn't need any extra power. The USB port will supply it with us with the power we need. Although it's occurring to me right now that I may not be able to set this one up tonight because I might have to go and dump the data that is currently stored on it. Because you know how things get on computers when you have data on a storage device? So I'm just going to take this and see, does it see the drive? It does not see the drive. So we may be able to, you know, just erase the drive. It may already have no data on it. Okay, that'll take a moment. Windows is doing whatever Windows does in order to see if there's anything on that storage device. It's taking a longer time than expected. I'm going to put that on my third monitor, and yeah, I don't think that's going to work. Something tells me this is not going to work. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, that was weird. I might have a faulty SSD on my hands. I might have a bad SSD. Oh, I had to turn it on. Yeah, so I don't know how long it takes for it to detect the presence of a drive. That's a bummer. This SSD is either not compatible with this adapter or is a faulty SSD, because the instant I unplug it, the logical disk manager like works immediately, right? And so the other way to test it out is by plugging it into this adapter, this other USB SATA adapter. But I don't like this one because, at least I don't like using this on laptop drives, because whenever I do, it likes to supply power to the drive even if I'm not trying to power the drive. Okay. So, same concept. We can switch and switch. This time it might actually see the drive. And it does not see the drive. So it doesn't really matter which drive I plug in, it's not recognizing it. So I think I have me a bad SSD. And there's no way to know if it's working or not. It's not like it spins or, you know, makes noise. This was an issue with some older SSDs. When you don't use them for a long enough time, they just go bad. And that is a disadvantage of using the, you know, using that on the original Xbox, or one of my concerns about using an SSD on an original Xbox, which is probably why I'll just stick with, you know, 600, 700, 500 to 2 terabyte drives. Now this one here. Oh, I know what I did wrong. I gotta plug this in. I'm gonna give this one more try with the other drive. So Same thing. You plug in the serial ATA, you plug in the SATA power connection, you plug in your USB. It's not emitting a puff of smoke. But it's not working either. So, wait, did I turn this on? Whoops. Let's try that one more time. I forgot to turn it on. Look at that. Okay, one more step. One more step. Now it might make a puff of smoke. But see, I still don't see it working. This thing here is going to basically say, nope. Actually, it worked better than before, but it's still not showing me any extra drive. Whereas on the 1 terabyte serial ATA drive, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Okay, that is on. Hey, what's up? Am I building a computer for the Navy? Well, Admiral Neckbeard, do you need it? Do you need computers for the Navy? Because, I mean, the Navy does need computers unless you're using the old school sailing ship Navy, which I do have a book on. I do have a book on Spanish galleons, if that interests you. But I'm not building a ship for the. I'm not building a computer for the Navy now. But I mean, I could be hired to build a computer for the Navy if that's something you want. As long as the ship has a power supply, because if a ship is running on some kind of like firewood, sure they do. Come on, of course the wooden boats require computers. I mean, like, what is an astrolabe? Wouldn't you consider an astrolabe? Am I saying that right? Is it astrolabe or astrolabe? You know what I'm talking about? The star measuring thing, right? That's like a little computer, kind of, right? I mean, it's not an antikythera mechanism, but it's like a computer for the stars, I mean, your brain is okay, but you're right, though. You're right. Sailing ships don't really need computers. Wooden ships don't. But yeah, so there's a story where back in like the late 90s, Microsoft was hired to like put Windows like NT or Windows 2000 on like a bunch of computers in the US Navy. And basically it was a disaster. It was awful. And long story short, Navy went and turned to Sun Microsystems and was like, please give us computers with your quality Solaris operating system. And then they fixed it. But yeah. Yeah, that's a critical point. In fact, I gotta reference my material. Okay. So you say we gotta perhaps secure the mizzen mast, and raise the sail, my lads. Well, let's take a quick look here. So we gotta raise the masts, right? So let's see if we can get a quick diagram. I love a good book. I love a good picture book, And I think this book has a breakdown somewhere where they tell you all about the different parts. One thing that jumped out at me was like how like these ships, of course they are there, they're funded by the Queen and in the name of the church. And I don't know if they really had these big paintings on the back, but that's kind of cool, You got like some shit painted here, and you got like the Blessed Mother on one of these, I think. And just random guys. Oh, here we go. This is what I was looking for here. So, yeah. So you said mizzen mast. Let's see if I can find me the mizzen mast. I got the main mast over here. I got the Kubarina. Yeah, man. Swashbuckling. Is that like being a swabby? So let's see here. I'm looking for me mizzen mast here. Because I know it's a real thing. Here we are, mizzen mast. Yeah. How did you spell that? You spell it with an S. They spell it with a Z. I suspect both spellings are right because, it's just certain words that, vary in spelling, especially when they're said in multiple languages. Granted, we're looking at Spanish galleons here, as opposed to, American schooners. And so, oh, okay, the mizzen mast is the one, mast is in the back. Got you. Okay. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. You got like a nice large pine pole going to that right there. You got like the main mast. I'm guessing that's the main mast. Is that 44? Yeah, main mast, going right there below the ballast right there. You got rocks in the back here. If these guys, they should have been putting whale oil back there to weigh it down so they could, keep warm. I mean, the guys on the HMS Terror and the HMS Erebus, they would have survived long if they had some whale oil in that ballast area, huh? But, now, jokes aside, let's see. Yeah, man, pirate life, it's understandable. Off the port bow. Now, what I thought was interesting was the, this area up here, right? I mean, what do they call this? It's not called the poop deck, but it might as well be called the poop deck. Up in the prow, and at number 5 where the heads are. Now, they say, okay, so these are the heads. So I feel like this is in a different spot than I expected, unless this is a different head. But it was my understanding that the toilets were somewhere up here, or that there was like a hole in the deck somewhere, and you just kind of go up there, And so the captain would be in the back, so that the wind pushing on the sails would blow the awful stench forward, and the people would take care of their business up here, basically. Something like that, So that's how I roughly understand it, yeah. And any relation to Captain Neckbeard by any chance? President Neckbeard? He seemed like a nice enough fella. I spoke to President Neckbeard earlier. I told him about the Unix operating system nerds. Now this shit here, this thing was torn up right here. I mean, look at that sail, man. They got, what is it? The boatswain's mate, I believe, is responsible for that crap, man. That guy's slacking there. Look at that. That lazy bastard has to patch up a lot of holes, and he's not doing it. You got your bowsprit right there, I believe that's called. And I gotta say, you got like pretty bright paint jobs, I remember hearing about Lord Nelson, or whoever the hell, Nelson, that guy, the Nelson guy, the Trafalgar guy. Yeah, when that ship got wrecked, when HMS Victory got messed up, they had to manually steer that rudder. And apparently there was like a section where you go in the back and there's like a wooden horizontal cross member, and the crewmen will literally hurl that thing left and right. And some poor fella's got to yell through the deck, or some little kid's got to run up and down during the battle and basically, pass the commands. Sort of like that time on Star Trek when Nog had to use his big ears to relay commands to the engine room, which is very old-fashioned, yet if he could talk to an intercom, why couldn't Captain Sisko speak into a, communicator? But yeah, so they did that, so like you got some cannons here. They got the what do you call them shits? Not the Cannondales. That's a bike brand. The Culverin, and I got all this. I think there's a picture of cannons in here somewhere, So yeah, I just wanted to share this book before I get back to the soft modding of the Xbox there. You got some old wood cuttings, I think. It's just not a wood cutting, it's just an old painting. It looks like a 3D puzzle there. It looks like one of those ones where you got to put your eyes up to the book like this in order to see it in 3D. You got some guy here. I always take exception with people hating on Columbus because, like, I get it. But at the same time, like, the people who are here were already waging war with each other. And it's certainly not like Columbus showed up and was like, oh, let's give them the common cold. Ha ha ha. I mean, like, as if he knew about the common cold, And I say it's a fair exchange. Supposedly they exchanged, smallpox for syphilis. But then I also heard syphilis was already in Europe. So I don't know, man. What's up, Action Man Gaming? I got sidetracked while doing this Xbox soft mod thing when Admiral Neckbeard came in, Shiver Me Timbers. Speaking of Shiver Me Timbers, yo, I don't know if Captain Neckbeard's not here anymore, but I wonder if he's ever watched Sequest DSV. Yeah, we were cracking all kinds of jokes about, boats and stuff. So I whipped out this book here that has these really cool pictures of Spanish galleons. And I was fascinated by these because, these boats are small, yo. And I think one of these is actually the boat that Columbus used, if I could find which one it was. They're labeled pretty clearly. You got the San Felipe. You got the Nuestra Senora de Atocha, 1622. And yeah, I'm Italian too, so I'm upset that everyone wants to attack my freaking holiday. You know, it's like I get one holiday. You know, I get Christmas, which I have to share with every other Christian. And don't get me wrong, us Italians, we definitely do Christmas up, right? We do it up, but we got to share that with every other person who celebrates Christmas. And then we get Columbus Day. And everyone wants to ruin Columbus Day. And it's like, dude, like, let's have our day. You know, you got the Puerto Rican Day Parade, we have Columbus Day. And frankly, that's the other thing. Like, we're the assholes for having Columbus, but he did on behalf of the Spanish, you know, and I don't see anyone bitching at the Spanish for their part, you know. But jokes aside, I think that people like to oversimplify things. And I mean, I can definitely see both sides of the story and whatnot, but people got to chill out. You know, it's like they got to, you know, just chill out. You know, it's like, come on, like, you know, we can have conversations about, you know, like when I was a kid, I thought it was kind of refreshing when people had like this counter narrative about Columbus Day. But then it started getting old when, you know, it became cool. When it became popular to hate on Columbus Day, it rapidly became old, in my opinion. So, yeah, I wish I could remember which ship Columbus actually had. Like, what is it? Not the Mayflower. I'm thinking about the Pilgrims here. What, the Santa Maria, the other one, and I believe it was a Caravel. A Caravel is a type of ship. So, for example, you know, this was a chart showing a boat in San Juan, Puerto Rico. You had caravels, which are like basically like a step up from a galley. And, you know, you have like this model inside a church. Like literally there's like a church in Spain that has a model of a boat just kind of hanging out in there. And this is actually how a lot of these drawings got created, because they could look at this model, which was seen as a detailed model from its day, and use that information to, you know, compare it to paintings and figure out like very specific details that go into figuring out these things. Here's like a shipbuilding book, you know, here's a shipyard, you know. But my point is just like, you know, like on the Columbus thing is that these men who were not all criminals, like everyone always says, had to get on these tiny ass ships. And to give you a scale reference of how tiny these ships were, all you need to do is look at like one of the ships where there's like a little deck in the back. There's like a little area, like even here you can see like this little deck, and clearly there's some windows. There's like a picture of a bed over here. That's not very big. That's pretty narrow right there. So you had to put a crap ton of men on these cramped quarters. They didn't know if this trip was going to be 1 week or 4 weeks, you know? And, you know, just like they're eating the left on their boots before they get to the destination. It takes guts, I think. It takes, I mean, granted, people did it for the money, the booty, and all of that. Here we go. There's a good scale. And I don't know if that's the captain, but that would be a cool place to stand. I would love to be on a boat like that, standing right here, you know, just kind of enjoying the view and being all like, I'm the captain, ha ha ha, you know, get some cigar tobacco or something, right? You know, live it up, you know, and all that shit. So that's cool. We got some rear cannons here so you can shoot at guys while they're chasing you. Yeah, you know, got all that stuff, you know, so good times, good times. I gotta say, looks like a good time. Now, this one was kind of fancy. That almost looks like it's got like this bubble window area here, but I don't think those are not windows. Like, this is just a weird curve. That's the window. But I gotta say, being the captain must have been nice. You got your own room in the back right there, you know what I mean? And like, you look at some of these ships where they have multiple windows in the back. It must have been pretty sweet to be captain. But anyway, I'm all over the place on that. Just wanted to share my love of you know, old maritime vessels and what have you. I think it's super fascinating that these guys boarded these itty bitty little ships. So anyway, with this hard drive situation, I am at a little bit of a challenge here, because this drive does have data on it. I don't know what kind of data it has. That's not me. That's not even my computer. I don't even know which hard drive that is. That's not my name. Wait, this could be a hard drive I pulled from the garbage. Like, literally don't know. I want to erase it, but I usually will make sure I don't have my own data on it before I do erase it. The application I would use is called Fat Explorer. And basically, it is a file explorer for the FATX file system, which is the file system that they used on the original Xbox's hard drive. Excuse me, I belched a little. So yeah, that's the file explorer. And now, anytime you're putting a hard drive in a computer, in a PC, in a Windows PC that has, you know, user accounts associated with the folders, it has to take ownership. So that's what that progress bar is. It's taking ownership of the files and folders before it lets me see the data. And where did my gamepad go? I lost my gamepad. Ah, here it is. So while that's loading, I'll show this thing here. Hey, where's my sound? Oh, I gotta raise the volume. So basically, I gotta actually upload more homebrew. Right now, I only have 4 games on this hard drive, but the important thing is that now this hard drive does show the full capacity. So I have my 600 gigabytes. I have like legit, like it says in this hard to read list that I have 355 gigabytes of capacity on here. So it means that I got it figured out, because before I was having trouble getting the full capacity. Now, the only problem was I can't find the backup of the games that I removed, because I'm pretty sure I removed some games from here because the original hard drive didn't have enough room to add more games, and I didn't really like having like half a megabyte. There's that many games. Yeah, so as you can see, like it stops at letter T. So, and I have double audio. I'm sorry. Okay. So yeah, as you can see here, like it stops at the letter T, and then X-Men is a game that I just copied the other day, yesterday. So I don't know where the games after T. Either the guy who sold me the Xbox didn't put more games on here than like T or P, T, letter U, or it's like I moved them and I backed them up somewhere else. And so if I have them somewhere else, I need to get those games on here. Otherwise, I just have to go through every game disc I have laying around and copy it in. So a classic game that I like to play is Mech Assault. Mech Assault is a really venerated game for games that people hate. Also have Mech Assault Lone Wolf, which is the sequel to Mech Assault. And basically both games, same concept, except in Mech Assault Lone Wolf, you can do like a lot of first person stuff. You can do a lot of things. So here's an interesting thing. 2 things are going on that concern me. One, this progress bar is real sketchy. I don't know what the hell that was, but it loaded. Number 2, I'm on the wrong display. There we are. And number 3, it looks like this game is anti-widescreen. So what that means is I have to like actually copy this input. Oh, that's a bummer. So basically this is supposed to be like, I think 4:3 aspect ratio, but I can't quite get it precisely right, without getting a ruler out. I feel like it's not going to be right. But obviously that's too narrow, that's too wide. I'm going to just deal with it like this for now. I'm going to put it off to the side.
To have to restrict yourself from engaging the enemy. I know this goes against everything you big tough mech warriors are taught, but you're going to pilot that stolen Thor right into their base. Captain, you're just outside of the base perimeter. They won't be able to tell that you're not one of them unless you provoke a response.
In other words, don't engage the enemy until we can tap into their comm information. Two Atlases guarding the gate? Ouch!
Captain, if they raise an alarm, you'd best find the back door.
Those Dragoons don't stand a chance. With a Depth Strader and Ragnarok...
Lost my mouse pointer. The audio is really good.
They've granted you access. Now get near the comm center and pray.
Foster!
They may suspect something. Play it cool. Friendly Thor, please transmit your ID code.
Mech Warrior, we do not have the information yet. Stay inside the base until we get the intel.
Again, Friendly Thor, please transmit your ID code. Comply or be fired.
Captain, hang tight. We're almost there. Get ready to move out. Fast.
Almost. Almost.
Got it. Captain, get out of there fast. Don't stop for anything.
Sir, try the rear of the base. Look for a way to open the gates. I'm sending you a nav point to get you out of that fire.
Captain, you're just outside of the base perimeter. They won't be able to tell that you're not one of them unless you provoke a response.
In other words, don't engage the enemy until we can tap into their comm information.
Friendly Thor, we're reading you. Welcome home. Did you give those merc scum what they deserved? Those dragoons don't stand a chance. With a Depth Strader and Ragnarok...
Two Atlases guarding the gate? Ouch!
Captain, if they raise an alarm, you best find the back door.
They've granted you access. Now get near the comm center and pray.
Foster!
They may suspect something. Play it cool. Friendly Thor, please transmit your ID code.
Mech Warrior, we do not have the information yet. Stay inside the base until we get the intel.
Again, Friendly Thor, please transmit your ID code. Comply or be fired.
Captain, hang tight. We're almost there. Get ready to move out. Fast.
Almost. Almost. Got it.
Captain, get out of there fast. Don't stop for anything.
Sir, try the rear of the base. Look for a way to open the gates. I'm sending you a nav point to get you out of that fire.
And don't stop. You'll have a better chance It's running and blasting.
I remember why I stopped playing. Shit, it's 3 a.m. Oh, I know what this is. Wait a second, this is a bad hard drive. I know this is a bad hard drive because I know where it came from now. This is from my cousin or uncle's computer. Yeah, that's a busted hard drive. We should mark it. Oh god, it's a lot of paint. I don't want to waste a bunch of acrylic paint on here, but at least now I won't have any doubt that this is a bad hard drive right here. At some point, we'll either take this hard drive apart, or we'll keep it handy for data recovery if we want to use it to cannibalize its parts to recover data from a broken hard drive. It's been done before. Now, this hard drive, this one here, is an oldie but a goodie. This is from my mom's old computer. And, you know, it's a computer that I used to use that she then in turn gave to me. Well, she bought me the computer when I was young. Then I, you know, provided her with the computer because I didn't need it anymore, and, you know, she could use it still because, you know, she's not gaming. And then, you know, she hasn't been with us for years, so, you know, there's that. But anyway, this is a interesting setup here. Okay, there we go. We got it plugged in. Now we got to plug in the power connector, but here's where things get tricky. You can't just plug in. Unfortunately, I have to find the Molex power connector. That is the power connector which is standard on old hard drives. And well, you know, I wasn't planning on plugging in a Molex connector, so I'm at a bit of a loss at this moment. But this might be a good opportunity to use the serial ATA adapter. Although I'd certainly much rather use the Molex adapter if I can find it. Oh hell. We're gonna use the so pretty straightforward. All we gotta do is wait a second, no, that won't work. It's backwards. Alright, I need to get that power connector. That sucks. That sucks, man. I don't know where that power connector is right now. Man. Oh, man. This is the box that the power connector would be in if it was in its original box. Guess we're not exploring that hard drive. I don't feel like cleaning my desk until tomorrow, so. Doggone it. Alright, well, let's go and plug in the next drive. We have this rando drive here. This is also an IDE drive, so I can't plug it in if I wanted to. This one here was number 4 in my ZFS storage pool. This is an original Xbox hard drive. This one here is drive B. Well, it's not really B, but it's like designated letter B. I also have a crap ton of these laptop hard drives laying around here. Oh, that's cool. I got videos of my turtles. That's Squirtle when I first adopted her. Well, actually not when I first adopted her, but, you know, a couple years ago. That's my buddy Poffy. This is before I gave her Doc a good scrub-a-dub-dub. Because, you know, you get a lot of slime on that Doc. That's my tortoise. This is from the time I went riding my bike in the snow, and lost the wide angle lens. That's my homeboy. No, it's not my homeboy. They were paying some guy to shovel. Yeah, it is the part where I lost the lens, I think. Wait, let's see if we can see it. Wow, that is beautiful. It's a very, wow, that's pretty nice. I wish I recorded it in 4K. I think this is in 1080p. All right, that's boring. That's gonna take forever. I want to know what's on his drive, but I don't know who Geoffrey is, so maybe hey, what's up, Angry Canadian? Yeah, I was like just playing some Xbox and and then I was showing some videos from my bike camera in the snow. If you rewind, you'll see those, a few minutes ago. Um, and I'm just plugging in random hard drives that I've pulled, and some of them have no data on them. Some of them are busted, like this drive here looks pretty bad. I mean, it has the word bad printed on it. It literally says bad. So that can't be good, right? And then this drive here is from a ZFS pool that I set up a while ago, where I just kind of took random drives and combined their total storage capacity to make one big volume, except I played it real fast and loose. Like, I took a bunch of drives that did not match at all. And I have like one drive here that has like a busted up label. Like, this isn't it, but this is one I want to plug in at some point. It's a 1 terabyte. And then we have this drive here, which is an old IDE laptop drive. And yeah, it's got a user account named Jeffrey or Geoffrey, however you want to pronounce that. I don't know who Geoffrey is, but that's his name. And his personal data is on this drive, apparently. I also identified my uncle's old hard drive. This one was definitely faulty. Earlier, I did a stream where I went into detail on comparing a condenser microphone to a dynamic microphone. So that one I think that was pretty useful. It had its ups and downs, but it covered some useful ground. And yeah, so at this point, if that progress bar is any indication, I should be able to find out what's on this drive any minute now. This is a great example of a recent... Oh, that's a great question, because I'm asking myself, how does this go bad? Because this was not, like, my first SSD, I had a 2.5 inch, what was it, Corsair? Not Corsair, no, Corsair was good. I had a 2.5 inch, like, XFX SSD, or this company that doesn't normally make SSDs made 1 or 2 models, and it was back in the Windows, when I had an Windows XP netbook, and I wrecked it by running disk defragmentor on it a few too many times. You don't even need to defrag an SSD, but if you defrag an early SSD, you get problems. Now, newer versions of Windows won't even let you run disk defragmentors, so it won't even let you ruin the SSD. So to get to the answer, how do you ruin an M.2 SSD? Well, brand name is a factor. I'll give you an example. All SSDs have a limited amount of times you can write to each cell. You got like groups of blocks or cells on the NAND chips, and you can think about them like as prison blocks. And the more you use a given block, the more a given block has been written and rewritten to, eventually it's not going to receive any new data, and at that point the SSD goes bad. Now, all modern SSDs past few years have reliable wear leveling, meaning they'll level out the wear and tear. So, let's say like this area of the SSD is the beginning and this the end. Early SSDs would write data to it, and then if you deleted a bunch of data, it would erase it, and then it would write new data to it like that. And that would mean that now this part is getting more wear and tear than this area here. So a good SSD will spread the wear and tear across the whole entire blocks, all of the blocks, so that no group of blocks are being, worn down prematurely. Well, how does this relate to your question? Well, Corsair, for example, not Crucial, any SSD with the Crucial brand name, not only do they do the wear leveling thing that most all SSDs do today, but Crucial will have extra blocks allocated. So if I buy a 500 gigabyte SSD from Crucial, it's going to have 750 gigabytes of course, I can't see the 250 gigs that are in there, the extra 250, because what it does is it uses that extra 250 gigs so that whenever a block goes bad, it can take one of the extra blocks that isn't available to the user and reallocate it. Basically say, replace this broken block, this one down block, replace this one down block with this block that's available for reallocation. And so it, it has extra blocks that can step in after a while, right? Now, other SSDs, maybe like, let's say I get a 500 gig SSD from some knockoff brand. Maybe they only allocate an extra 80 gigs, 50 gigs, 100 gigs of a block. So basically, that one's going to fail sooner than, theoretically, than the Crucial SSD. The other factor is, this is more of a common issue of early SSDs. But if you left the earlier SSD unused for an extended period of time, no power. Now, yes, technically SSDs are like flash memory, they're NAND memory, but they are able to retain data for the long haul, theoretically, when there's no power applied. But it turns out there's like graphs that say, based on whether or not power, they call it bit rot. And basically, if you put an SSD in storage, the conditions, the temperature of the garage that you store that SSD in, while it's not receiving any electricity, will either slow down or accelerate the rate at which data disappears from that SSD. So those are some factors. But do you remember what the capacity of that SSD was, how big it was, and roughly how new or how old that Crucial SSD is? I mean, all SSDs can go bad eventually, and unlike hard drives, you don't really get much warning. That's basically the thing about SSDs. That's why hard drives, in my opinion, are still king when it comes to archival storage. I mean, plus, I have a 40 terabyte, ZFS array in my server. I'm not going to spend, whatever it would cost in the form of SSDs to store 40 terabytes. That would be astronomical. Especially because it's 80 terabytes, but I'm using, basically mirroring so that I basically fault tolerance. So every drive I put in there, I put a second one in so that if one drive goes bad, another drive will take its place until I replace the broken drive. The idea is that it prevents me from losing data. It can tolerate a single drive failure at any given time. And as long as I replace that broken drive before the next drive in a given pair fails, I don't lose data. So, okay, 500 gig NVMe, that's perfect. Okay, let's see what we got here. That looks like a decent SSD too. I don't know why Google just gave me the search results for Amazon.co.jp. Did you steal this SSD from a Japanese computer? Did you go to Japan? Did you go to a Japanese OEM and yank it out? Maybe that's just who shipped it. I don't know. I'm just messing around. And interesting. So it actually says Crucial by Micron. So basically, Micron is really the company that's making the components for that SSD. And they just stamped their brand name on top of it. Oh shit, I'm sorry. Yeah, it says over here, Crucial by Micron underneath the Crucial logo. So that's what I meant. And so I believe all of them are made by Micron. Okay, yeah. One of the largest NAND manufacturers. So some companies, Samsung makes them. Some companies is Micron. But as I understand, you did buy it in Japan. Look at that. That's funny, huh? Look at that. I mean, like I said, Google it. So this must be like a market-specific SSD that is only sold in Japan. And I don't know if that's like has anything to do with it. That's interesting. It's assembled in Mexico, bought in Japan. That's funny. So it's like parts were made in China and Korea, probably China, Korea, and Japan, or Taiwan, shipped over to Mexico for assembly on the printed circuit board, and then sent back to our friends in Japan. So yeah, let's see. Because I got like a couple. I got one SSD like this on the left. I have an M.2 floating around. I think I have I have a Crucial SSD in this machine. But yeah, it's my understanding that they allocate extra blocks for the wear leveling. And I see, look, the model number has a JP on the end, so that's how I know it's a Japanese. That's why it came up with the Japanese specific model. Let's see if we can get more information from the American Amazon. Now, the Americans, okay, we both give it the same amount of reviews, whether you're American or Japanese. but a lot more Americans bought it. Yeah, like little things like that, I don't know if it means anything in the other details. Now, actually, we might be able to figure out because, some people will run benchmarks like these. And so hopefully someone in Japan was kind enough to run a benchmark on it as well. Hopefully like a benchmark that I can actually read. Because, doesn't help. Oh, good. There we go. Thank you, my Japanese friend. There we go. All right. Good, 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 good. All righty. Okay, so that's a tiny little picture. Can we get that picture to be larger? The answer is basically no. So there is a way. I just don't know what it is right this instant. So anyway, I'm currently using Chrome, and I always keep a copy of Firefox installed because sometimes when I'm playing a game, I want like to look up a strategy guide, but I want a browser that doesn't eat RAM for breakfast because Chrome definitely does love eating RAM. This computer can handle it, but I'll alternate. I expect all of these companies to be doing data mining, so I'm not worried about Google spying on me so much. That's true. I could Google Translate it. I can't Google Translate the pictures, but you're absolutely right. I can translate the page. So real quick, so this is, I don't know why, this guy might have a different system situation going on. He's running Windows 11. That's his first mistake. But yeah, we're talking about, let's see, sequential read. Okay, they did 2 different speed modes, so I can't really, say objectively, but they're comparable. For example, the write rate is 1661 versus 1576. I'd say that's about even. 1387 versus 1156. So the Japanese one is supposedly slower on the left. 595 versus 341. So now when it comes to random 16K or whatever sectors, suddenly the Japanese SSD is faster again. So I'd say they're pretty much comparable. What I was looking for is if there were any glaring differences, like I was wondering if there was any blatant difference, like if the Japanese one was like reviewed to be way worse, like something like that, like had less reviews. Having a heatsink on an SSD could be fun. It's not really necessary, but it could be nice. What I know there's a translate button up here. That's okay. I can always copy and paste it to translate.google.com. I was just hoping that. Oh, fucking cheapskates. They're like, oh, this exceeds the character limit. All right, well, then just translate what you can. Damn, this guy wrote a long review. At this price, it is 4 terabyte and it is very appreciated that it is mounted on one side. And there are concerns about performance degradation due to thermal throttling. I don't think that applies to SSDs. Maybe it does, but I doubt it. Okay, for small devices such as the Nook. Okay, the next unit of computing. What is single-sided mounting a PS5 must have latest firmware. Okay. Rice field. Rice field. What does this have to do with a rice field? Okay. Yo, dude, funny thing was I was reading a Japanese review for the book Hyperion by Dan Simmons. Probably like my all-time favorite like science fiction book or science fiction series. And like there was this one guy, he was like a Japanese professor or some crap. And he, like, this book is like a well-acclaimed book, and this Japanese professor was like, the book is terrible. And like he was just not happy at all. And I'm like, I don't know if it was the translation that he read that he hated, or if the book was truly that bad. But this guy did not like Hyperion. And yeah, a few times I read these reviews and... Huh? What do you mean? Some settings are not... Update them before continue. Yes, sure, update the settings. Wait, what? What is this bitch talking about? No. This program should just fix itself. Get the F out of here. I'm not doing that right now. Okay, it's a picture viewer. Chill out. No, don't make it my default picture viewer. Geez, these people are trying to hijack my computer. Show me the picture. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So this is an upscaled version of the Japanese book cover. So this is actually Endymion, and you got like a magic carpet, and you got the Blue Man Group up in here, right? You got the Blue Man Group guy here. They made some changes. Yeah, they were right when they said the settings were not compatible. Okay, there we go. So I can now do. So yeah, like one of these books here, like takes place in a far future, and you know, humanity's run by the hegemony of man, and then like the church takes over, and they freaking have monopoly over technology that can go faster than light, but it kills the passengers to bring them faster than light. So of course that also means that the church has a monopoly on the technology to resurrect people from the dead, and that is how they have dominance over the universe. Here we are. When I put this product on and measured the speed with crystal disk benchmark, it was 3677. Just in case, I restarted to measure it again, and it was slower this time. I'm satisfied with the temperature around 5 degrees C, lower than the P2 series. Durability hasn't been even been 1 month since I started using it. Don't know, but I think it's a good product. That's nice. There we go. I didn't see the built-in translate till just now. I was concerned about the fever, so I'm sure he meant temperature. I was concerned about the fever, so I attached the following heat sink, and he measures the product. So the SSD itself does get hot, but the controller chip does. The controller, which is part of what governs the wear leveling feature I was talking about, is what does it. So I guess bringing back to the question about your SSD, what makes you think it's faulty? Does it not load up? Does it work slow? Does it like work intermittently? What kind of symptoms are we talking about? Hey, what's up, PJ? Good to see you, Mr. Orville Nation. Feel free to drop a link in the chat, or if you don't mind, I'll be happy to do it. You know, I always say, you know, you always do that hashtag we grow together, right? You know, so I'll drop a link in there if you don't mind. You know, but man, you're up late, buddy. I'm up late too. I gotta get to bed too. So let's see here. Yeah, Orville Nation, just in case anybody wants to check that out. So yeah, I already did the Xbox mod thing. Yeah, I was doing the Xbox Softmod tweaking, right? Then I started going through data on random drives before going to bed. A Captain Neckbeard showed up, and I went and showed pictures of Spanish galleons. And then earlier, I did actual, you might like, or might be of interest to you as a streamer down later on, is I did a comparison between a condenser microphone, which, where's my condenser? Well, it's not here now. Oh, here it is. I did a comparison between a condenser microphone and a dynamic microphone made by the same brand. Basically, this is the cheap version of the Shure SM7B. This is the poor man's version of the Shure SM7B by Samsung, the Samsung Q9U. And then this is the condenser, which I bought, which I'm happy with both of them, but this is the first time I'm making serious use of this microphone. And yeah, man, that's basically, you know, I just want to share with you. So if you ever have an interest in seeing a direct comparison between two affordable condenser and dynamic microphones, yeah, that's what I streamed earlier tonight. So getting back to you, Mr. Canadian, let me see here what your symptoms were. Okay, so the SSD would cause your PC to flag it on boot up. Like an automatic check disk, like when it runs the scan disk or check disk routine. And then you would wipe it and try to reformat it. It wouldn't reformat. Yes, that's a dead fire sign that it's bad. Why it went bad, I'm not sure. But like I said, wear leveling or the idea of, you know, and have a good night, PJ. Good to see you tonight. So when it comes to leveling out the wear, I'd say it's a function of age. And the second thing is, if the SSD was not in use for an extended period of time. And finally, and this is, you know, somewhat wild speculation based on some experience, but, you know, obviously, you know, the hard drives, we have way more experience with hard drive technology. Maybe like, you know, thermal factors, like if you were using it, like if you used it to telework during the summertime when the air conditioner wasn't running, because look, we have air conditioning at home. We don't have air conditioning in the office, right? I mean, we have air conditioning at the office. Some people don't have air conditioning running at home as much. And so it's possible that that SSD was, you know, subject to thermal loads. So those are some of my theories. But then the final question will be, did I get the answer on the age? I don't know if I asked you how old it was, but That would be my only other question. I think you said you got it in Japan, but I don't know if you said when you got it in Japan. Oh yeah, I've been meaning to try out Brave browser, by the way, and I'd be pissed off too if my Windows updated automatically. I was very careful to prevent that. I actually have a machine running Windows 8.1 like right now, like it's literally on right now. Like I'm not even kidding. Like not that I don't think Windows 8.1 is great. It's just that it was the last version of Windows that supported Windows Media Center, and for a time I needed that. I needed that to be available, and it's just that it's like my secondary, personal workstation. It still works, and like, see, that's Windows 8 right there, right? You got like I even had it set up to the point that I used Windows 8.1 to the point that I had all of my tiles set up nice and neat. Like I usually would hide the desktop icons because otherwise you'd have a lot of icons there. In fact, I just use the desktop as a normal folder. There we go. I hide icons. So, like, it's a properly set up Windows 8 right there. In fact, I'm going to put this computer to sleep before I go to bed. There we go. There's no reason to waste electricity. But yeah, so long story short, the answer to the question is, I don't know, but you heard my 3 speculations. So with that, it was good to see you, Angry Canadian. Thank you for tuning in. I think I'm going to go get some shut-eye as well. And I'm going to drop a link in case somebody watches you in the replay. I'll drop a link to your channel in the chat if you do post content. I believe you do. And yes, you sure do. So yeah, with that, thank you for tuning in and have a great night. And if I have any more useful information on that matter, I shall DM you. And with that, for anybody else tuning in on the replay, for anybody else who watches me on the replay, thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave a comment. And for now, we shall end transmission.